The symptoms are really similar to what you would have with flu.
It sort of went from being probably a really bad cold that I'm dealing with to life-threatening and scary.
As the disease progresses, people go into severe respiratory distress.
Lungs fill up with fluid, it becomes difficult to breathe.
You basically drown in your own fluids.
Your blood oxygen's dropping, there are all these horrible things happening, and everyone's hoping things are going to turn around.
Wrong place, wrong time. Unlucky.
The doctor said, I think he probably has less than a 25% chance.
It's a crapshoot.
Early summer 1993, there was an outbreak of strange respiratory disease in the Four Corners.
New Mexico, Arizona, Colorado, Utah. There were a lot of human illnesses. People had this strange respiratory disease.
Some of them died. Nobody knew what it was. Eventually they found a virus. It was a Hanta virus.
Hanta virus is actually a whole group of viruses. Sin nombre virus was the first Hanta virus in the US that caused significant human illness with a high fatality rate.
Sin nombre, the virus without a name, because nobody really wanted it to be named after them or their place. The real mystery with Hanta is not that we have cases occurring, but that we don't have more cases occurring.
It's very surprising to me personally that I haven't contracted HPS, hantavirus pulmonary syndrome. I've handled deer mice with no protection, hundreds and hundreds of them, been bitten 60 times, and we're inundated by them everywhere.
Amy Kunze and Rick Douglas of Montana Tech in Butte, Montana, are on the front lines of hantavirus research. They're ecologists who study the reservoir hosts, the deer mice.
Oh, we have one here.
And deer mice, ladies and gentlemen, are everywhere.
So this mouse is tagged from last time. And this one weighs 18 grams.
Deer mice are pretty widely distributed in North America, but pretty much everywhere you find deer mice, there have been human cases of hantavirus pulmonary syndrome. We're following known mice over time. We do one blood sample per month. They occur in a lot of different habitats, grasslands, forests, prairies. If they have the opportunity, they will love to live in your buildings.
All they need is a hole. They'll go in there, they don't need food, they don't need bedding, they don't need anything. They will go investigate.
I started feeling sick in July of 2009.
The symptoms are really similar to what you would have with flu initially.
I definitely was feverish. I didn't feel physically strong, I felt weak.
And then as the disease progresses, people go into severe respiratory distress.
When I showed up in the hospital, in the waiting room, I blacked out. And I sort of was in and out of consciousness. The doctor came in and said, your blood oxygen level's at 60, and when it drops to 40, major organs start failing and you're going to die. We believe we should put you into a medically induced coma.
The death from hantavirus is pretty traumatic. You basically drown in your own fluids. The way humans get infected is they come in contact with contaminated dust.
So when mice are in buildings, they're going to leave droppings, they're going to urinate, and if they're infectious, then they're shedding that virus.
And then classically somebody goes in sweeping and the dust kicks up, they inhale it, and then they become infected.
I remember waking up in a room in the intensive care unit, and my sister and my fiance and my parents being really excited to see me. I've been out of it for 12, 15 days.
There aren't any great treatments for hantavirus.
You're either dead or you get over it. Once you clear the virus, you're done.
I get a call in the hospital, in my hospital bed, from the state epidemiologist, and he was wondering where was I in any cabins in rural Oregon. We had a really old, like 1920s garage in the back of the house, And I was moving stuff in there. Could it have been there?
You have to come in contact at a time when the mouse is shedding the virus. They don't shed the virus all the time, and that occurs over about a 2-week period.
People who become infected, it is sort of a wrong place, wrong time incidents.
I was in Montana for a family wedding, which is maybe when I contracted hantavirus. These things can just happen, and you're never going to be able to sort of actually find the root cause sometimes.
The more data you get, the more complicated it appears. Of course, that's why I'm still in the mouse business, because if it were simple, we'd be done.